Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Sisters of the Strange. I'm Shae,
I'm Landrey.
and it's your episode this week.
Yep.
It's going to be a good one. I'm excited about it. I feel like I had something to say. Did you have anything?
I will say that the end of the last episode, the her Baumeister, whatever.
Baumeister.
That the last 30 minutes, y'all aren't crazy. It was poppling and
Was
crackling.
it 30 minutes? Was it that long?
It was in and out for the
Okay.
last. It was the last while. Y'all aren't crazy. My brother asked me today. He said,
Is that just me?
"Yeah, am I crazy? Was it my car? Whatever." And I was like, "No, I really don't know what happened. We both run on like my track is on my mic, her track's on her mic, and I tried muting one or the other to see whose it was. It was both of us. So I don't know.
Weird.
I truly don't know what it was, but it was both of us. Because if it was just like my mic, then I was going to mute my mic while you talked or whatever.
Yeah.
And I don't know. And it was like well after we had the recording error as well. So it wasn't that.
Yeah. Who knows?
So I'm not really sure. It was the ghost.
Yeah.
It was just sitting on our
He was sitting on the
mixer.
box. He was like, tell me more.
Yeah, I want to hear. Ew. Now I'm imagining ghost children sitting right here just
Ew.
petrifying.
Oh, I was just going to mention, but by the time that this episode comes out, I'm sure a lot of you have maybe seen, what's it called? The Devil in My Home.
Oh, the Ruby Frankie shit?
Yeah, the Ruby Frankie
Ugh.
documentary that just came out. That shit, wild.
Yeah.
Absolutely heartbreaking, first of all. Super sad. She is a literal psycho.
That girl.
She's insane.
Because Shae watched it and said, "Hey, you should watch this." And I was like, okay, yeah, sure. So I watched it on Friday night. And the very beginning of the first episode, I texted Shae and I said, "How did no one notice how dark this girl's eyes are? Like soulless. Like those are someone's eyes you look at and you're like, there's nothing there."
Yeah.
And clearly it progressively got worse.
Mhm.
I watched that, and after I finished that, I watched the Gabby Petito.
Oh, yeah. How was that one?
That was also really, really sad. I was like, oh, I'm watching Bob's Burgers next because I need something
I need
to
some
like
happiness
before I fall asleep, because I did it all when I was going to sleep.
Yeah.
It was that was harsh.
I was going to say just like a recommendation for you to go watch it. It's not something that I'm going to cover just because I don't really want to. It's a good story. Like, it's a crazy story, but there's nothing that I could do to give it justice, I feel like. And so to hear it from that is probably the best thing. So go watch it. I think it's called The Devil in My Home or something like that.
The Devil in the Family.
Devil in the Family. That's it. It's on Hulu. It's really good. It's only 4 episodes. And then the eldest daughter of the family, she wrote a book as well. That's on audiobook. And obviously you can like buy the hardback that goes into more detail about the stuff that her mother did to them. Oh my God. Definitely recommend.
One thing I noticed the whole entire, like all the interviews, she calls her mom and dad by their names.
Mm-hmm.
She does not call them mom and dad. She's like Ruby and Kevin.
Yeah. Yeah. Crazy.
And I totally think the dad would get back together with Ruby.
Oh, 100%.
Which is insane.
He was brainwashed by her. It was absolutely horrible.
Yeah. At the very end, they're like, "Do you still love her?" And he's like, "Absolutely."
Absolutely. Boy, she duct taped your children.
They literally said, "She like really abused your kids." And he's like, "It's hard to," yeah, he's like, "It's hard to get past the other memories though." And I'm like,
there's been recent interviews with him that he filed for divorce. Like they're going through with that. He's trying to get custody back of the kids and this and that and blah, blah, blah. So like now he's a little bit more detached from her, I think. But I don't know. He was pretty gung ho about her.
Yeah, he was in it, which is crazy. So there was parts that I'm like
spine chilling.
Like, how did you do that?
Yeah, that just wild.
Yeah, it is a very interesting story. I definitely recommend it.
While I was talking about this, I remembered another thing that I was going to tell y'all, which is what I told you the other day on Snapchat when I was like, I don't have anybody to talk to about this.
Oh, yes.
It's just another continuation of the Menendez updates. Governor Gavin Newsom of California sent the brothers' files from prison basically to the parole board in California to do a risk assessment on them to see what the parole board thinks about their, risk to society if they are to get out. And so that plays into this whole clemency thing that they had applied for. And so the clemency is the one where the governor says all he has to do is say, okay, you're out on parole.
Yeah.
And they don't have to go to court. They don't have to do anything. They just let them out, which I don't think has ever really been done.
See, but I just don't think that they're a risk to society.
No, and they're not. And apparently there's been like risk assessments done on them before, and like all of their scores are the lowest possible scores.
Yeah, I don't see them going out and doing the same thing again. Like,
no, absolutely.
They did. I do think that they did everything out of self-defense. So I just don't see them coming out and being like, whoa, let's go shoot up this Walmart. Like they're just not going to do that.
No. And the amount of things that they have done inside of like prison is just like so incredible. Eric does work with like hospice patients and like has a whole group dedicated to that. They have, rehabilitation groups, yoga, this, that, blah, blah, blah. They painted one of they did like murals all over the entirety of like one of the like outdoor places. And so there's like these beautiful murals like all around those concrete walls that normally would just be concrete walls outside. And it's like this beautiful just like backdrop that they get to have. Yeah. And that was something that they headed while they were in prison together. So anyway, in my opinion, it seems to be a step in the right direction. It's not really saying yes, he is going to let them out or no that he's not, but he's considering it, which to me is a big deal for him to even say, let's see what the parole board thinks, because he at any moment can just sign a piece of paper and let them out. And the district attorney and the judge, doesn't matter what they have to say. Yeah. So I think that's really cool.
Yeah, I think it's a step in the right direction. Mm-hmm. Totally.
Yeah. So I wanted to talk about that. So
yeah. She literally did. She Snapchatted me and she said, I don't have anyone to talk to about this. And I was like, oh shit, what's she about to say? And then you went off and I was like, girl, yeah.
Here we go again.
No, I did respond back.
Shut up.
No, when I responded back and I said, I don't think they're a risk.
Yeah. I'm excited. So we'll see what happens there.
I am curious to see that. Mm-hmm. I'm sure. I think it's going to go good. I think they're going to be fine.
I freaking hope so, man.
Intuition, they're going to be fine.
I might actually cry.
You probably will.
Yeah.
You're going to cry.
Yeah.
My intuition's been very good lately.
Yes, it has.
It has been.
Mm-hmm. Spot on, baby.
Yeah. And speaking of, I've talked about like I was stopping drinking. I've just slowed down now. And yesterday I was like, I don't know if I want to drink today or not. Like I'm going to go buy like just like a 24 ounce and that'll be my drink for the night. But I wasn't sure if I wanted to or not. And then when I was in the store, I was like, well, I'll buy it just in case and see what I want to do. Yeah. Get up to the register and I don't have my ID. I never don't have my ID. I was like, wait, where's my ID at?
Yeah.
And the guy was like, I'm so sorry, I can't give this to you. And I was like, honestly, I don't care. Yeah. I was looking to see if I needed to drink tonight or not. And that was like my sign that I probably shouldn't. Mm-hmm. I mean, I drank anyway, but.
But she said, I don't care what the universe says. I'm going to make my own decisions.
Yeah. Well, I was like, oh.
That's
But I was like, I'm going to listen to it. And then I was like, I was around people. Nah, I'm going to drink a couple. And I did, not a couple. But yeah, I was like, I'm more concerned about where my ID is right now.
Yeah, where's my ID?
Because of Supercross last weekend, I was like, I know I used it at Supercross. So is it in Jerry World on the ground? I was like, oh my God.
Better call up Jerry Jones.
Yeah. No, it ended up being, I blanked. I had bought Aaron's medicine and I had to give my ID to them. And I totally forgot. But when the guy was talking to me the whole time, I was like, dude, I don't give a shit about the alcohol. Because he kept saying, I'm so sorry, ma'am. I'm so sorry, ma'am. And I was like, dude, I don't care. I literally just want to know where my ID is at right now.
Yeah.
And because I just kept going through my stack, like because I don't have a wallet. I just have like a purse that I shove everything in. And so I was just like going through my cards. And he was like, I'm so sorry. And I was like, dude, can you shut up?
Stop.
And it's also almost more embarrassing when someone's like, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I was like, dude, I don't care.
It's I literally
no, I just want to know where my ID is.
Relax.
Like if I get pulled over tonight, what do? Yeah. My registration's out also. Like
you're going to jail.
Yeah. That's kind of when I was like, should I do anything?
That's funny.
But here we are.
Here we are. Everything's fine. She didn't go to jail.
Not yet.
Not yet. We still have some time to go.
Yeah. It'll happen one day, I feel like. I feel like I'm bound for jail one day. For not for anything crazy. I'm going to have one of those stupid charges that Weatherford gives people.
Just for like the experience of it.
Yeah, I'm going to do a walkthrough and just say, can I stay the night?
Can I just spend the night? I just want to see what it's like. They're like,
But oh my God. Well, there's a page in our town and it's like busted, whatever, on Facebook. And they post people's mugshots and some of the reasoning for people getting pulled over in jail. I'm like,
I think they post every mugshot.
They do.
So if you get arrested in Weatherford and you go to jail and they take your mugshot, it's being blasted.
It's on Facebook. You have to like there was someone that I know that was on there and they were only on there for like a day because they like lawyered up and was like, get this, like this looks bad for me. And they did. They lawyered up and like got it off the Facebook.
It's crazy.
But
they just don't be giving a shit.
No. But but the thing is, some of the people get pulled over for like or are in jail for like the stupidest stuff. I'm like,
yeah. You know what they need to be doing? They need to be going to talk to Mark Goodyear and leave these people who ain't using their blinker alone.
Really? I'm like, we got some like real shit going on here, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Find that person who's dumping naked bodies on the side of I-20, okay?
Yeah, apparently we have a serial killer in Weatherford going.
Possibly. Well, it's still in the works. We're trying to find out.
Anything that happens in this town is overdramatic. Mm-hmm. We had a clap epidemic in high school. And
Maybe we shouldn't talk about that.
Thank God neither of us were involved in that. But
oh my God.
it got so dramatic. It literally was a dramatic thing.
I love telling that story. It's one of my favorite things when people are like, how was, growing up in Weatherford? I'm like, well, let me just tell you.
Yeah, pause. And anytime you went to a party, the beer pong table got flipped.
Yeah.
It was never just a good game of beer pong. It was like, we're flipping the table. Everyone's pissed off. Let's throw hands. That's why I normally stayed sober. I would go and I would eat a Taco Bell. Like I'd always take a bean burrito and I'd go.
Or chicken nugs.
Yeah, I always had food. But I stayed sober a lot, honestly, because I would be like, dude, I just want to go home to my own bed and I don't drink and drive. So
yeah, I can't be bothered with you people.
Yeah, and normally I just left. I just wanted to be there to say I was there and then I'd go home.
What a life we lived.
What a weird life, bro.
Yeah. Speaking of small towns.
Nah, our town's not that bad, but Mineral Wells is definitely questionable.
Very questionable. This is a good one. This is a big topic.
I'm like, Mineral Wells is super scary and I'm looking at buying a house there right now.
You know what? Do it for the plot.
Do it for the plot.
We're doing it for the podcast at this point.
Yeah, and all the houses I'm looking, oh my God, there's a beautiful home. And it's like a 1900s, 1929 built or something. It's the most beautiful home and it's got so much space and it's in my price range. But I'm like, that shit's haunted as hell.
Oh, 100%.
And no. But I want it. It has so much space. It's like an old Victorian.
Yeah. Oh.
And they've redone the kitchen nice. Like it looks so
Oh my
nice.
God, you're going to have to show it to me after this immediately.
Yeah, I want it. But I'm also not trying to be haunted. So.
Oh, well, if you live in Mineral Wells, you probably will be. So
yeah. Have you heard? I don't know if y'all have heard. I don't know if you've heard because I don't think you ever read the Reddit story that I read about the Mineral Wells cop.
Mm-mm.
So his whole theory on Mineral Wells, which I will get into the history of it in just a second, but his whole theory on Mineral Wells is that if you have, were raised in that town, if you drink the water in the town, you are immune to what's going on in the town. You don't see the ghosts. He thinks that you just don't see all of it. So that's why most of the people tourists and stuff are the ones that think it's so much more haunted.
Yeah.
Because he was a policeman and he said he wasn't from there. And he never drank the water in that town and he could see everything going on, but he would talk to people and they'd be like, I don't know what you're talking about, but they lived in the town and drank the water.
Ooh, that's kind of spooky.
Interesting theory.
I like that theory.
Yeah.
But yeah, the water is special there.
Yeah.
They don't call it crazy water for no reason.
Not for nothing. Yeah. And
Let's go.
I'm like, I can tell you why they say that.
Let's go.
So Mineral Wells is, what would you say, 50 miles from Fort Worth, Dallas? I'd say it's an hour and a half.
Yeah, I'd say 50 miles.
An hour and a half west from the Dallas-Fort Worth area. So we're in Texas. And my episode today is mainly going to kind of focus on the history of Mineral Wells and then the Baker Hotel and a little bit of the Haunted Hill House. So those are two very popular locations in Mineral Wells. And for whatever reason, I had actually never heard of the Hill House until the last couple of years when Ella started dance in Mineral Wells. And I was like, wait, there's what? Because Mineral Wells has the Crazy Water Festival and they have Mary Wells. They have all these things and my niece dances there. So we go to all of it and then we end up walking around downtown and we'll go to
see what they
coffee
got
and cocktails or whatever. And they have a bunch of haunted locations just within that walking strip. And which I'll talk about those a completely different day because I've been in a couple of those and some spooky shit going on. But we were walking down there and I was like, what is that? And Murphy was like, you've never heard of this house? So Mineral Wells history began in 1877 when James Lynch, I do believe he was a judge, moved his family. I think he had 6 or 7 kids and 50 head of livestock this direction. They were leaving from Denison, Texas, and they were heading west looking for a drier climate because malaria was spreading. And so they were like, let's go, drier climate, let's go west. So they actually stopped and settled in Palapino County, which is where Mineral Wells is. They stopped there because a wheel fell off their wagon. They had heard about Indian raids going on further west of the Brazos River, and one of their oxen was struck by lightning.
What?
So they were like, this is God telling me to stay right here.
This is a good stopping point.
Yes. So we're going to stop. I'm going to take all my signs. We're not going to be like Landrey. We're going to listen to our signs. We're not traveling any further. So they settled and it was their kid's chore to go and get water from the river. And it was a 6-mile hike or something like that. Some stories say it was only 1.5 miles. Some say it was 6 miles. I'm like, either way, that sounds terrible to go get water and bring it back. And so eventually, I think after a year of kind of living where they did, they dug the first well. They said, this water tastes really funny. They tested on their animals first.
Yeah.
They're like, if they can survive it, we can survive it. So once the animals were fine, they started drinking the water. And both the judge and his wife suffered from rheumatism.
Oh.
And at this point in time, his wife was like bedridden by her rheumatism. And so they both started drinking the water and her rheumatism went away. And so that's
right.
what started
Yeah.
the whole mineral idea healing water situation.
Mm-hmm.
So then it started spreading that, they have this mineral water or whatever.
This magic healing water.
Yeah, this magic greatness. And so in the fall of 1881, the town of Mineral Wells was named and established, and Mr. James Lynch became the first mayor. But they started building wells everywhere, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the second well gets dug, and then there's the third well that gets dug, and it's dug by James's uncle, Billy Wiggins. And this is the well that's known as the Crazy Well.
Oh, okay.
So this is like the one that's at the Crazy Water. I don't know how often you go down there.
The Crazy Water Hotel?
No, well, there's a Crazy Water Hotel, and then like a little bit up the road, there's the actual Crazy Water. The well is there, and they have like a little store there that still sells the water, and it's almost like a tourist attraction. They sell like water calendars. It's like a little tourist spot.
Okay.
But the well,
I don't think I've been in there.
That's where the well is.
Okay.
Yeah, it's literally like on the same strip. So then the legends of this and why it was started to be called the Crazy Water instead of, like mineral water or whatever. There's two different stories. So one of them is a man named Ed Dismuke. I think I'm saying that right. And he was told by his doctor that he had a life-threatening stomach disease. And he was like, I'm going to die, whatever. But he started drinking the water and it went away. He was no longer going to die. And I don't know what is in the water that would help cure. I do have what's in the water, but I don't know how that would cure a stomach disease.
Okay.
He is actually who founded the famous mineral water company. And another local legend that is part of this crazy well is there's this old lady. She's passing the schoolyard every day and she's crazy. Like,
she's the crazy lady around
always
town.
Speaking in tongues and doing some weird shit like that. And they said every day she went to the well twice a day and drank out of it. And within like a certain time span, she no longer was crazy.
Oh.
And so they called it the Crazy Well because those are the two.
Cured her crazy.
Yeah, these are the two stories because it literally cured her crazy.
Huh, I didn't know that one.
Yeah, I'm not I think that's the original story I'd always known. I didn't know the stomach disease one.
I think I had just heard that it was healing. I don't think I ever heard like a specific story.
Yeah,
it was just like that the water was like healing.
Yeah, so as mentioned, Ed Dismuke is who founded the famous mineral water company. And before long, in 1913, there were 21 different mineral water companies based out of Mineral Wells.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, with more than 125 wells dug across the city.
Wow.
So with that, more than 150,000 visitors traveled through to experience all of this.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where it started being like, it almost became like a pop-up, not necessarily shanty town, but it almost became like a pop-up town. Everyone was like, okay, we need to get hotels built and we need to get lodgings, and they started building little like casinos, like things that you would do to come because people were coming for the water, but we need to have this as well.
We need some like infrastructure to go along with this. We can make money in this town.
Yeah, we can make this happen here.
Yeah.
And so that is kind of where the influx of all of this came. And so then the city was like, hey, we need to build, a nice hotel. So then the Crazy Water is what was built.
Mm-hmm.
But it burned down, I think it burned down around 1926, somewhere around there. But it burned down and it burned like the whole block. And so then the city was like, okay, now we need another one.
Yeah.
And this is where they called TB Baker.
Okay.
Because they were like, this guy already has a bunch of chains. He had a bunch of hotels already just throughout the state. And so they called TB Baker. And in 1929, the Baker Hotel opened. And it was known as the Grand Lady of Mineral Wells.
Mm-hmm.
So Mineral Wells, like I said, is this tourist attraction. All these people are coming here for the healing water, for everything healing. But then modern medicine starts to come in. And people start to realize, like, we don't have to go get mineral water because we can just go get a shot or take a pill and this all goes away.
You're wrong.
So, yeah.
Newsflash.
Really, you're actually only making it worse. Just go take the water.
Yeah.
But they said another one of the things that caused, because Mineral Wells booms with all of this, right? And then Great Depression hits, all of this shit hits, modern medicine, Great Depression hits. And so the water is like, and so everything kind of starts to decline. And some part of it that there was an aspect of it I'd never paid attention to and never thought. And they said that a lot of the people who came through were like laborers and they would come on like their time off.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, after the Great Depression and modern medicine is when PTO kind of became a thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so people couldn't just seasonally do their jobs. They did their jobs year round now and had to take vacation time.
Yeah.
And so a lot of the people that would come here seasonally no longer did that because they didn't have PTO to do that.
Yeah.
And I was like, I've never thought of that aspect.
Yeah.
I always just thought like, oh, Mineral Wells, booming town, all of this. And then it died off because like Fort Walters was here. At some point it was an oil town Because it went from water to oil to Army, Air Force, and then to nothing.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
And I thought that was it. I thought no one needed the medicine, or everyone just took medicine and didn't need the water anymore. But then I was like, oh shit, I didn't think about PTO and vacation and.
Yeah. Duh.
Didn't
Like
cross
real
my
world
mind.
things.
Yeah. I'm like, didn't cross my mind. I don't know why. I think I associate PTO with like today.
Yeah. Like way modern times.
Yeah. So what's actually kind of fun is for my senior project in college, I had to do a capstone project.
Mhm.
And I did mineral wells as my capstone project. So a lot of this is just stuff that I knew and
You
the
had
modern
learned.
medicine and all of that, because my project was about revitalizing the downtown space and how Mineral Wells was founded as this healing town, bringing it back to this healing town. So taking all of the roads, because they're really strange one-way roads,
Yeah.
a lot of the roads there, and adding in bike lanes, and it's called complete streets. And so you make it to where people can walk easier, making sure there's crosswalks, making sure that there's the noise with the crosswalks, so people who are, ADA, handicap, whatever, can still get across.
It's just not this little one horse town.
Yeah.
One road in, one road out.
Yeah.
Type thing. Yeah.
And I made it like I designed a whole.
Oh, how fun!
I designed a whole
Yeah.
like site plan and everything for it.
Yeah.
And I like went downtown and took pictures and then photoshopped them to make them lively with treescapes, because there's no trees in the inner city either. There is like in the houses and stuff, but trees on the sidewalks, shit like that.
Yeah,
And
just
then
spruced it up.
the main hill, when you enter and it has the Mineral Wells sign, that's called, I think, like East Side Hill or East Hill or something like that. And I did like a bike trail all through that to make it like tie the old healing into the new healing.
Yeah.
It was a really fun project.
That's
It was really cool.
Yeah, I love that.
And it bases out of, it was a healing town, and let's take it back to that, because they're revitalizing the Baker, and that's kind of what I was going off of as well. And there's a bike trail that goes from Mineral Wells to Weatherford anyways.
Yes.
And so then there's people who are talking about tying the bike trail from Mineral Wells to Weatherford to the Trinity Trails in Fort Worth.
Ooh.
All you have to do is follow the railroad track.
Yeah.
And so I had looked into that too, and that was another like, that would have been like phase 2 of my project.
Yeah.
It was really cool. It was fun.
I love that.
Yeah, I'm like, how do I present this to the city of Mineral Wells?
Yeah. Somebody hit me up.
Yeah, I'll give them my presentation.
I love that.
But no, it was really cool. So, anywho, at the end of the day, one of the only companies out of the 25 million jillion companies was the famous mineral water company that was created by Ed Dismuke, and it got turned into the Crazy Water Company at some point. So now it's the Crazy Water Company, and they sell the water, and it has all the minerals, and you can get levels like 1 through 4 or 5 or...
I think it's 5.
Have you ever tried them?
No.
1 is okay. 5 is like...
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
It is a lot. So I actually said, what is in this water?
Yeah, I'm very curious.
So calcium, which is good for your bones. Sulfate, which is good for detoxing and energy production. Alkaline, which is good for warding off chronic conditions, losing weight, treating liver disease, preventing cancer, and more. And then lastly, there's lithium, which is known to cure mania, including feelings of excitement, bipolar disorder, depression, and more. And so lithium is one of the things that I'd always known was in the water. It was one of the ones that I had heard of the most.
I
You ever
did
heard
not know that. No, but that makes so much sense.
I think I learned it from the Ghost Adventures episode.
I only watched that episode one time.
Oh, I watched it a lot.
Yeah, I only watched it the one time.
No, I watched it a lot. Our cousin is in it,
Yeah.
which was really fun.
We can talk about that when we get to the Baker Hotel.
Yeah, I literally was gonna bring my signature card from them.
Ugh, I wish I had one. I don't have one.
I was thinking about it whenever I was doing all of this. And I was
Yeah.
like, I need to go find it before I forget. And
Yeah.
I never did it.
Do you still have it? Do you know where it's at?
Yeah. It's in, how like that book?
Mhm.
One of the folding books
Oh.
that you can hide stuff in. I
Yeah.
have one of those, and it has the picture of me, you, and Aaron.
Okay,
it has
good.
the
I'm glad you
signature
have that.
card. I know
Yeah,
exactly.
I want that picture of us with Aaron. I always think about it.
I literally just have to
Every
find
time
that
we
book.
talk about Ghost Adventures, I think about it.
Yeah.
That was like one of my most best moments of my life.
I didn't go to school that day.
No, Caleb came and took me out of school.
Yeah.
I was at school and he was like, I'm going to pick up Shae. We got shit to do.
Yeah, I didn't go to school that day, and I don't know if you called me or he called me, and I was like, come pick me up. Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's ride.
Yeah,
My mom was like, I thought you're sick. And I was like, oh, I'm so sick, but I'm going.
but I'm going. Yeah, we're not missing this.
Yeah, no, thank you. So I think I've covered a lot of the history of mineral wells.
Yeah,
I feel like,
that's
is there
pretty
anything that I missed that you can think of?
good. As far as that goes, no. Mm-mm. When did
Yeah.
they rebuild the Crazy Water? A couple years ago?
So the crazy water, I do have history of the crazy water, but because I will go over the crazy water one day.
Oh.
But the crazy water It burned down and they rebuilt it at some point, and then it like in that time frame, like around the 1920s, 1930s. Either way, the Crazy Water was rebuilt, and for a long time it was just used as like residential, not as a hotel. But they did go back in and revitalize it in like 2019.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Yeah, that's where I had my bachelorette.
Yeah, it's so pretty.
It was really fun.
I've only been once. I loved it.
Yeah. So I think they still do have residential things there. I think there is still some residential, but there's also the hotel, and it's very reasonably priced, and it's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
But I do have history, and I'll do an episode over it one day, but that is like the basis of it.
Okay.
Because the Nazareth is right there. Because I did a ghost walk tour.
I know. I want to do it so bad.
I actually designed all the shirts. Every year I design the shirts.
They're doing a ghost walk tour in Galveston when we're there next week. I think we're going to go to.
Yeah,
it's one of the battleships.
Girl, go.
I know. We're going to go.
Certainly.
Yeah.
But no, the girl who does the ghost walks stuff, she said she'd come on our podcast one day if I wanted to.
Yeah.
She's really, really nice. She has a daughter that's in Nash's class. Mm-hmm. And that's how I got like hooked up with her. And the last 2 or 3 years, I've made the designs for the ghost walk shirt, the shirt, whatever. It was really cool.
I love that.
I'm like, that's my design.
That's my design.
But I did that ghost walk tour, and she really breaks it down. She does awesome. She's like gone and found history that you can only find if you do a lot of research and talk to the right people.
Yeah.
And there was places there that I was like, that like we had gone down there, like I said, for one of the festivals, and we were like, that house is creepy. And I sent you the picture that Mantha sent that she had taken. And we were like, wow, that house is really creepy. And then I learned on the tour, like the whole story of that house. And I was like, holy shit, yeah, it's totally haunted.
Yeah.
And then the next year, I think it was after that, I got to end up going in that house. I showed you that picture as well, where you can see like there is like an orb in one of the pictures. But that house is creepy too, and it has a lot of lore.
Everything.
Oh yeah, the whole city is haunted. And like I'll end up covering Mineral Wells quite a bit, like a few different things, because there's this whole Reddit story, and it's this cop, and it's like 10 parts. And he just tells you all of his experiences.
Oof.
So he has an experience with the baker, which I don't even have it written in here, but I have it memorized. Like I could tell you what happened.
Yeah, I'm excited to get into the baker.
Yeah, he has a bunch of history. But I just love Mineral Wells.
There's a lot of history in Mineral Wells.
I love it. The only other thing that I didn't really hit on, I feel like in this beginning part, is just that like I kind of did the oil and all of that. So there is a Fort Walters there, which now I don't think is a functioning base anymore. But it was an Air Force base, I believe. And so there was a lot of like that kind of took over part of the city for a while after the Great Depression, because the Great Depression, the Baker Hotel was actually built and opened like the same day as the stock market crash. It opened like right as the stock market crash happened and survived the stock market crash, surprisingly.
Yeah.
But it was like the only thing that kept Mineral Wells going at this point in time.
Yeah.
And then it died out because all the medicine, because people were coming to travel to get the spa and the treatment and everything, which I'll go into that in a little bit. But so I have some history on the Baker. I told you a little bit of the history about Mineral Wells, and it all kind of ties in. But as mentioned, Crazy Water burns down. This is why this luxury hotel needs to be built. T.B. Baker came in, constructed this luxury resort. In 1926, the Baker Hotel commenced construction. And then, like I said, in 1929 is when it opened up. But Mr. Baker stopped construction after he took a trip to California, and he visited a hotel that had a swimming pool. He was like, pause, we got to figure out where we can put a pool at in this place.
Yes, sir.
And the Baker has an Olympic-sized swimming pool on the east side of the building. And it was the first hotel in Texas to have a swimming pool.
What? I didn't know that.
I didn't either until I read this.
Ooh.
So the Baker Hotel, as mentioned, rose 14 stories over Mineral Wells and housed 450 guest rooms, 2 ballrooms, an in-house beauty shop, and other novelties such as a bowling alley and a gymnasium. So the bottom story was like you could go into the hotel, check in and everything, but they also there's still storefronts around the bottom. Mm-hmm. Like have you ever noticed that? There's like all the storefronts, and as they're revitalizing it, I don't know if they're still going to use it as storefronts or what they're going to do there. The only thing I hate about the revitalization is they're not going to decorate it how it was decorated.
I know.
And I'm like, that's what you need to do. Like,
you know how much business you're going to get once that thing opens? Imagine if you did it as a step back in time.
Yeah,
bro.
they're doing it more modern.
Ugh, of course they are.
From the pictures I've seen, they could always change because they've changed the revitalization so much.
Yeah, it's been going on for a while.
But one thing I did see is they tried to keep a lot of like the molding, like crown molding and things like that. They kept a lot of that, like took it down, but they kept it all to where they can potentially like reuse it, which would be really cool. Yeah, really, really cool because it had beautiful.
Oh my God, yeah.
Beautiful architecture. It was very it's like Spanish architecture. It was weird. It was like a Spanish architecture type because the Crazy Water is like also Spanish terracotta type architecture. It's just beautiful. I don't even know how to describe it. It's beautiful.
It's really, it's very ornate and very just fabulous.
I wish I could have.
Ugh, I know.
If I ever have a time slip experience, let it be at the Baker Hotel.
Please.
Yes. So the hotel opened 3 years later, so in 1929, just 2 weeks after the great stock market crash, costing a whopping $1.2 million to build. That is equivalent to $21 million today.
I was about to say, that's like nothing compared to what that thing really should be worth.
Oh, yeah. That's what one of the things is they wanted to revitalize it so long ago, but they would I remember it was like 2012 and they're like, yeah. And then no one could fund it. And then they finally got some funding. And then I have in here a little bit later, but the people who actually are funding it are like from Dallas or something. They're clearly not from here.
Yeah, no.
Not have that money. So the Baker Hotel opened to the public November 9th of 1929.
It's about to start raining really hard.
Yeah, we're going to see how this works. So one thing that I think is above its time is it had lighting and fans that were controlled by the door locks. So it would shut on and off if you weren't in your room.
Oh,
and it would
save money.
Yes. Which when Aaron and I were in Scotland and Ireland, we went into one of our hotel rooms and like none of the lights were working. And I was like, oh my God, they gave us a room that doesn't work. It's like a cruise. You have to put your card into a thing. They didn't tell us that. And Aaron went back down to the lobby and was like, bro,
our room don't work.
Yeah, what the hell? And it was after we'd already gotten lost trying to find our room because the way that they set up their stuff there is really confusing. And they were like, you put your card, like your door card in a
thing.
I was like, oh, we're dumb.
It's okay.
But it's so smart.
Yeah.
So they were ahead of their time, 1929, and had lights and fans that turned on and off due to that.
Yeah.
That was, very, very smart to me. So the hotel was completely air conditioned by the 1940s, which added to its appeal because a lot of places in that time were not. And it offered a meeting capacity of 2,500 attendees in their meeting room. So it became a really good place for conventions as well. Yeah. So that was one of the driving forces is it had enough space to be a convention center, basically. Even though it opened after the stock market crash or right at the stock market crash, it had immense success throughout the 1930s, largely due to the reputation to be the spa city and the healing waters. And that's, like I said, what drove people to mineral wells in the first place. But the Baker had the pool, had mineral water, clearly. It had a spa. So it had, I don't know if you've ever watched Halloween Town. You had to watch Halloween. You've never?
Yes, I have. But it's been a long time.
Shut up. I watched it the other day. I watch it all the time. So there's one point in Halloween Town where they're having to gather all of these things to create a spell and blah, 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 blah. One of the things they have to get is like a ghost tears or ghost sweat, something like that. And so there's this guy and he's in like one of those little old sweat things where it's like a little box.
Yeah.
They had that. Like Zach got in one of them in the Ghost Adventures episode.
Oh.
Yeah. And then Nick puts his foot on it and he's like, get your foot off there, Nick. And Nick's like, I'm not doing that. He's like, really, man? You know, he's like, starts to freak out. But I saw that and I was like, oh my God, it's Halloween Town.
Yeah.
So they had all those, like, it was a spa place. They had massage rooms, all the shit. They had everything. So a lot of celebrities came through there and clearly adds to the appeal, right? So Judy Garland, Lawrence Welk, I have no idea who that is. Clark Gable, Lyndon B. Johnson.
I've heard that
and
one.
the Three Stooges.
Ah.
But it is also believed to have been where Bonnie and Clyde have come through.
Oh, yes, I have heard that.
Yes. And so they always used aliases and stuff like that. But someone, I think it was like a server or just someone in the lobby, they were like, I don't think she saw Clyde, but she was like, I just talked, that was Bonnie.
Mm-hmm.
That was Bonnie. And so there's a whole
thing about that
reputation for them coming through, which I actually saw their car in Tennessee.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which I don't know because I think there's also one in Vegas. I don't know which one's the real one and which one's a replica.
Oh. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's really loud reading.
Yeah, I don't know if this is going to work. I think we need to pause for a second. We took an intermission because it was starting to pour rain and I just don't think that I can edit that out.
Not on my metal roof.
Yeah, stopped.
For a good while.
Good while. No more rain. Just started to record again and it's like,
hello.
Yeah, let me fall down. Let the rain fall down and wake my what was it? What's my dreams?
Wash away.
Is it sanity or memories? For me, sanity, because I have none.
Honestly, I don't know.
I don't either. I want to feel the sunshine. I want. Anyways,
okay.
Encore.
Anyway, here we go.
Who sings that? Is it Hillary Duff?
Yeah.
Girl. I remember whenever I was getting married to Aaron and I was like, Duff is such a unique last name. No one has the last name Duff.
Not Hillary
Are
Duff
you kidding
existing.
me? Yeah, I almost want to name my daughter Hillary and Haley. Like, I'm going to have girls. I'm
just for a joke.
Just to be a bitch.
It's fucked up.
Yeah. It's
I like it.
Hey, but she's like the only one who survived childhood stardom and is not crazy.
Cracked out.
So
go girl.
That could be a good sign. Maybe I should name my daughter that.
Yeah. I'd love it. I'm a fan of that.
But then I also think of Hillary Clinton and I'm like, well, maybe not. She's anytime I think of Hillary Clinton, I think the video and she's like, I'm just chilling or I'm just here in Cedar Rapids or whatever it is. And she's just
just chilling in Cedar Rapids.
That's the first video I think of when I think of her.
Oh, that's good stuff, man.
Yeah. Or have you ever seen the movie Maid of Honor? It's one of my favorite movies because it's in Scotland.
No.
But the very beginning is they're at a Halloween party and it's Patrick Dempsey or whatever.
Oh, yes.
And he's dressed as Bill Clinton.
Yeah.
And he's like, thinks he's going to hang out with Hillary Clinton. And like, that's their costumes. Or whatever. Yeah. Whatever. Anyways.
Yeah. That's what I thought movie you were talking about, but I didn't know it was in Scotland.
Yeah, I remember because she finds like, she goes on like a work trip, like an art work trip and meets like a duke. And so she's going to move there, but like he's her best friend. Yeah. And so he's the maid of honor. And then he goes over there and they do like Highland games and everything. And
you know what I'm thinking? I'm thinking of 27 Dresses. Because he's in that movie too, isn't he? Isn't he like the best friend or something?
I don't know.
Anyway, I don't know.
Who is her boss in 27? The boss? That's who she ends up because her sister marries him or whatever, or is going to get married to him and blah, blah, blah. But I don't know if it's him. I can't think. I can only see her face.
I don't know, man. Don't ask me. I'm not a rom-com girly.
Her singing Benny and the Jets on the bar.
Yeah.
Yeah, because then at my bachelorette party, everyone wanted to do Benny and the Jets. And I was like, I am not doing karaoke. So Macy and Mantha and Ella and everybody went up except for like 3 of us sat back and were like, y'all do it. And no one knew the words. They only knew the Benny. So it got really loud right then and then quiet every other time. I was like, why didn't we sing like lap dance or something? Like something we could really, or none of your business. Like, I would have gone up there for that.
Yeah.
Okay, so T.B. Baker began to suffer financial difficulties in the early 1930s. Surprise, surprise. Mm-hmm. And eventually declared bankruptcy in 1934. So that's only like 6 years after the hotel's open.
Yikes.
29? No, 5 years.
Don't look at me.
Yeah, it's 5. But so then after that, he passed the hotel to his nephew, Earl Baker, and he had already been the manager of the hotel. So despite the owner's financial problems, the Baker Hotel did continue to thrive throughout the mid-1930s. As the decades came to a close, however, Mineral's reputation as a health spa was in decline. Advances in modern medicine and the discovery of antibiotics such as penicillin began to lead doctors to encourage that rather than therapeutic waters.
Wonderful. Thanks, guys.
Yeah. Yes. So business began to suffer until a second boom in the Baker Hotel's popularity began when Camp Walters came through, and that was in October of 1940. And then, as I had mentioned, Camp Walters had, well, I told you it was just a war place. But
a war place.
A war place.
A base.
Yep, war place. Duh. They're clearly the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's probably when Woody's came to town too.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's an old army barracks.
Mm-hmm.
So it was home of the largest infantry placement in World War II, and the hotel enjoyed its greatest popularity and success as a result. Throughout World War II, the transient and permanent population of Minerals hovered near 30,000 people.
Wow.
And a lot of people had made their temporary homes in the Baker. So.
And they're forever after they died.
And forever and ever. Yes. And that is where you stayed. So Camp Walters was shut down in 1946, 1 year after World War II ended, and nearby businesses suffered as a result. As I said, Mineral Wells does this. It's a roller coaster of people are here, people are not here, people are here, people are not here. Right now, we're in a people are not here.
Really?
I think.
I feel like it kind of boomed a little bit once they kind of like revamped the square a little bit. Like it's a little bit cuter. There's more stuff.
They got a new
festivals.
Yeah, they got a new city manager. He got sworn in not that long ago, so I think that'll make a difference as well.
Yeah,
and like they got some new council members.
It's a cute town.
Oh, I love it. I love walking down.
Oh yeah, that little store that's in
Coffee and Cocktails.
Coffee and Cocktails.
Market.
Love that place.
I love Coffee and Cocktails. That's where I did my bachelorette. Mm-hmm. Was Coffee and Cocktails, and then there's a brewery, Rick House. And they have a really good sangria. It is very dangerous, though. And I feel like they've opened another few places. But they have like a wine bar down there. So you can go to Coffee and Cocktails wine bar.
I've heard good things about the wine bar.
It's pretty cool. They sell beer and wine. Yeah. I drink beer because I don't drink wine.
Yeah.
But it's a really cool nightlife area.
Yeah. It's better than it was 5 years ago, I think.
Oh, totally.
You know? Yeah.
Certainly. That's where I would prefer to, like, a night out, I would prefer to go there.
Yeah.
Like, I genuinely am looking at buying a house there because I would way rather live there than where I'm currently residing. But there's not like a bunch of tourist stuff going on right now.
Yeah,
but the Baker was said to reopen in 2024, and then it was said to reopen in 2025, and then now I think it's mid 2026.
I cannot wait.
Yeah,
they're starting foot in there, bro.
They're starting renovations from the top down. So they've already redone the ballroom. So William Clark Green, you know, his album is The Baker Hotel, and he did a whole concert up there. The ballroom's already good. So they've already redone the top. They're going top down, I think, to keep vandalism
at
people.
bay, to keep people out.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah. And I think they actually, because I think one of the main access points when people would break in was the basement, the kitchen. And I think that's another thing is they were like, we're going to...
Yeah, keep this closed down.
Yeah. They've already redone all the windows, and
I cannot wait. I haven't been down there in a hot minute.
But aside from these successes, business declined steadily through the 1950s, and the proverbial final nail was driven by Earl Baker himself when he announced that he would be closing the hotel after passing his 70th birthday. So, true to his word, he did shutter the doors on April 30th of that year, which was in 1963, bringing an end to the 34 years of service that the Baker Hotel held for Mineral Wells. So I don't know how, but the Baker Hotel did open 2 years later, again in 1965. And then Earl Baker had a heart attack in 1967 in his suite there. And in 1972, the Baker closed again, but for the last time finally. So now the scary part of the Baker Hotel. We know some people who have decided.
They will not be named.
Nope. I asked them for their stories and they said, I will type them up. And I said, well, I'm doing the episode like tomorrow. Yeah. So we'll get those eventually and I'll share them. But I do know one of them was they had kind of set up like booby traps because there was a group of them who went in. And they had set up booby traps to scare the other groups because they kind of like were trying to mess with each other. So they had set off like, you know, bells on doors and whatever. Something did scare them bad enough to where they were actually trying to abandon the building. And that is where said friend's friend got stuck in the stairs. Got stuck on the stairs, a shoelace or something. And then the cops showed up and they were not very, parents weren't happy and everyone went home. Because someone called that they'd seen lights or stuff in there. But they had said that they broke in through the basement and that the kitchen was terrifying and still had knives on the walls.
I think somebody had called because they parked right outside the fucking front door. They parked right out front and somebody called it in because they saw the vehicle and it was in the middle of the night. And so somebody called it in and then the cops showed up as they were like leaving after they had already gallivanted through the hotel. Yeah. And then they were like, what you doing?
Yeah. The fun part of this is one of the people who was there is now a Mineral Wells cop.
Yes.
So that's fun.
But yeah, do you know some of the stories that?
No, didn't get any yet. But I thought that they had set up booby traps and were trying to scare each other. But then I asked another somebody who is from Mineral Wells, which I don't think he cares, but it was my brother-in-law. He's from Mineral Wells. And I asked him, I said, what are some of your stories? And he didn't tell me them either. I was with him last night.
Guys, come on.
I'm like, be better. But I do remember one of his stories. He said that him and his friends, there's a whole thing where if you go up, he was either the 11th or the 13th story. Are you dying?
Did he say yes?
What?
When you asked him if he was dying?
No, he said, no.
No, I'm hungry.
Yeah, he said, are you bringing food home or anything?
Aw, what a sweet baby. I don't know him and I just love him. I'm like, oh, he's my little nephew. I love him.
He is very sweet. He really is like super kind.
Were you in the middle of a story?
I was saying something. Oh, Eugene, yes. So he's from Mineral Wells. He's a crazy man. And he said that if you win, it's either the 11th or the 13th story. If you go up and you drop a penny, like from that, then no matter what, it folds in half. So he said like the bottom, like on the ground, and it's supposed to be like a paranormal thing because it's supposed to be like, he said you can throw it willy-nilly and it always will fold in half at the bottom, like once it hits the ground.
That's weird. I wonder why.
Don't know.
I wonder what the theory is behind that.
Yeah.
No, I remember the other human that we have in common. I remember them telling me like that they took a video camera.
I actually don't think they care because they said they wanted to come on the podcast to tell stories as well.
Oh, for real?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
I just said we don't have the setup for that, but we can figure it out one day.
Okay. It's our brother.
Yeah.
It's
like,
our older brother. We're just trying to be
to solve the
respectful,
mystery.
okay?
Yeah. I don't think he cares that much.
I honestly don't think he gives a shit either.
No.
I could text him and he'd be like,
I don't give a
what?
fuck.
Okay. So yeah, our older brother broke into the Baker Hotel when we were how old? We were
I don't know. Our dad was so happy.
Oh my God, he got in so much trouble. But they parked in front of the
and it doesn't help he was driving, like they had loud vehicles.
Yeah.
So.
And there was like 5 of them at least.
I can think of 3, 4. I can think of 4 right away.
But anyway, yeah, there was our brother and a group of his friends, and I remember they said that one of the girls that was with them, they had a video camera, or like a disposable camera or something. Somebody had a camera, and they broke in through the basement in the kitchen, and all the kitchen stuff was all still there, like the knives and the pots and the pans and everything. And it was like one of those big industrial kitchens. And then they're going through like to all the rooms that they hear about. And the one that I always remembered was that like they set up this video in the ballroom, and like they went in the ballroom and they were like jacking around in there, and when they left and they like watched the video back, you could hear ballroom music.
Oh wow, I've never heard that.
Yeah. I remember him telling me that.
I remember him talking about there's a room that I will mention, and there's always a smell of perfume in there.
That one
and
too.
I do know that he said that he did smell that.
Perfume. Yeah. Those are the 2 that I remember the most.
Yeah.
And then them getting stuck trying to get out.
Yeah. One of their friends literally got stuck in the stairs, and I don't remember if it was because the stairwells are really small also, and he is a tall, big dude.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if he got stuck in the stairs because of that, or I think his shoe got caught or something. And so they all stayed with him. And I'm like, man, survival of the fittest, every man for himself. I'm out of here.
We're running.
Yeah.
But yeah, they had some experiences as far as I remember. I need him to send me his firsthand.
He said he has stories about Gus too that he wants to share with us.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Because I said, just write them down. And he said, well, I'd like to come on. And I was like, okay, well, we got to figure out how to get that much because we don't have that. We've had so many people that want to come on, and I'm like, we've got to get set up for that.
We got to get a bigger setup. My God.
Yeah, we really just need.
We're getting so popular.
Yeah, we had like 200, and actually today we're at 230 streams in the last 7 days, and I'm like, hell yeah,
go off,
pop off.
So yeah,
but
anyway, so that's the only thing I have about Bubba's story.
Yeah, so the Baker is clearly extremely haunted, and that is one of the main attractions. And that's one of the things that upsets me the most is like them revitalizing it. They're not taking it back to that time period, and I want it to be that time period so bad because it would just add to that effect. Mm-hmm. So many people are going to go there either way.
Oh, I'm going immediately.
Oh yeah, I'll be there. It's $1,000 and I'm in.
I've wanted to go in there my entire life.
Yes.
More after our brother told us that he went in there.
Yes, but I was always, when it was popular, we were too young.
Yeah.
I was a little too scared because I've always heard so many horror stories about it. And so I was like...
Well, and you always get busted. Everybody always got busted.
Yeah. Yeah, you'd have to be very smart about getting in there. But it's literally in the middle. It's the downtown hub. The cops watch that place like fucking crazy. Mm-hmm. So one of the main stories I've already kind of mentioned is the one where our cousin was involved. He was in the Ghost Adventures whenever they do the story of this bellboy. And our cousin is who acted the bellboy out. Like they went to the Mineral Wells High School and went to the theater department. And, you know, I don't know if they auditioned kids or if they just picked him, but he got to be the ghost boy. Yeah. So whenever they do their reenactments, our cousin, PJ. Hell yeah.
Dude, so cool.
Yeah.
I was so pumped.
I rewatched it the other day and I was like, it's PJ.
Yeah, I need to watch it so bad. I've only watched it once. What the hell?
Oh, I've watched it so many times. And
I'm going to watch it tonight.
Yeah. So the bellboy is a true story. It is about a 15-year-old boy. His name was Douglas Moore. And he actually does this one is accounted for. Yeah. It is a real story.
Yeah.
He earned a job as a passenger elevator operator at the hotel 2 years after his family moved to Mineral Wells. On January 16th of 1948, Douglas arrived early for work and went to the basement to catch up with his friends before entering their shifts. Teenage talk turned into horseplay, and Douglas began to play with the service elevator at the base of the stairs, jumping in and out when it was in motion. Mind you, this was before there were safety features that would keep the doors open and things like that. So at one point, he didn't jump quite far enough, and his body got stuck between basically the elevator and the door and the floor and everything. He got cut in half.
Yeah. Sliced.
Yeah. And I think that is exaggerated. The cut in half is exaggerated, I do believe, according to obituaries and autopsies and things like that. But he did die from
a crush injury,
being crushed like that. And his friend had tried to pull him out or whatever. So there is a lot of stories that people will see him and they only see half of his body. So like whenever PJ did the reenactment, it was only the top half of his body. They didn't show his legs.
Yeah.
And so there is people that say that when you go in the basement, but he's friendly. They don't say he's mean or anything like that, but you will see like half of a body floating around. And I took note that there's an odd coincidence, but his brother Thomas died also at his job in Mineral Wells.
Oh.
Within a few years of one another.
Okay. I didn't know that.
I didn't either.
That's sad.
Yeah, I found that and I was like, oh shit, poor parents.
Damn.
Dude, I feel like there's some families that just have that happen. Like, it's just...
one after another.
Yeah.
Ugh.
I definitely feel there's families that are like cursed, and I think that's so horrible. But it's a thing.
Yeah.
It really is. I don't know what their ancestors were doing, but they done...
when it rains, it pours.
Yeah, they done did it for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's also another story, and it says Baker, but which one? So Earl Baker was the nephew of T.B. Baker, as I have mentioned, and he managed the Baker Hotel for over 40 years and lived in the presidential suite. After a string of a few tough years with his family, spouse, and even the community, Baker had a heart attack in his suite and subsequently died in the local hospital. Which, when I was on the ghost tour, it was said that he either lived or went to the doctor's office, and it was across from the Baker, but like not across the main street. It's when you turn on the Baker, it's, I want to say it's just like East 2nd Street. Like it's just that street right there. And there's a row, and there was said to be something in that building, and then that is who moved to the Dr. Norwood house. That's that haunted house that I've showed you. That's a whole thing. I'd have to do the ghost walk tour again to really get the details on that. But anyways, he didn't really die on the property, but he still, you know, had a heart attack in his suite, and they took him to one of the doctors. But I think it would be very interesting if he did die at that Dr. Norwood hospital, because then it would tie it with the Baker, which would be very interesting. So I need to follow up on that.
Get up on that, yeah.
But reports say that he or his uncle, they don't know if it's T.B. Baker or Earl Baker, that endlessly paces the rooms. When the hotel was available to guides and ghost tours, it was customary to knock before entering the suite as a form of respect, or perhaps to avoid his fiery temper, because apparently he was an angry guy. Visitors also claim to smell cigar smoke and have small items from their purses or pockets come up missing, and then they're found later by like the tour guides. So it says, whichever Baker may remain, he has a sense of humor. And I don't know. I think T.B. Baker died there as well. I think. There's a lot of deaths that occur here. So
yeah, so many.
Yeah, I'm like, I have a couple of random ones as well, but there's like, these are like the main ghosts. Is the bellhop boy, one of the Bakers, and then the mistress.
Yes.
The mistress
is my favorite story.
You're going to be confused because I'm confused. There's two stories here, and I've always heard them as the same story, but this is telling them as two different people.
Okay.
So I don't fucking know. I couldn't tell you. So there was a spectacle resident of the Baker, and she has red hair and green eyes, and a porter of the hotel first saw her in the 1960s. She is known as the Lady in White and is believed to be the former manager's mistress, Virginia Brown. She flirts with men who she finds attractive and resents the intrusion of other women in her suite, which is in the southeast corner of the 7th floor. Apparently, the woman, distraught from the affair, committed suicide by jumping to her death from the window of her room, which there's so many ghost stories that people say they see her jumping
off
with her
roof.
dress out.
Yes.
Towards the pool, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is where it gets confusing in a minute. So keep that in mind.
Okay.
But she is the one who has the distinctive lavender perfume that wafts throughout the floor, and red lipstick was even found by a maid on the rim of a glass after no one had been staying in that suite.
Ew.
She is the most restless spirit in the hotel. She refuses to be confined to one floor, and she clicks her high heels everywhere that she walks. So you can hear her on the lobby with her high heels, on the dance floor with her high heels, anywhere.
Go off, queen.
Yeah.
She owns that bitch. She knows she's famous.
Yeah, she's like, this is mine?
Uh-huh.
But there's also other theories that it could have been one of the Baker's sisters, and that town rumor mill spread it into being like, oh, he's paying for this girl. She's staying here for free. He gives her money, blah, 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 blah. And it's actually his sister. So do we know if it's his sister? Or do we know if it's Virginia Brown?
Yeah.
But there's a lot of ghost shows and stories where they get the name like Virginia. They get Virginia on like the EVPs and things like that. So I would lead more towards it being Virginia. But I just have to, whoa, my voice. But I just have to say, I don't know which one.
Yeah.
This is where you're going to be like, wait, what? So there was parties held in the Cloud Ballroom on the 12th floor, and they were legendary, which should be the ballroom you're talking about where Bubba caught the ballroom music, from what I understand. And one intoxicated woman said to her boyfriend or spouse that they would race downstairs to the pool. He took the stairs, she took the window. Yes. And that's where I've always heard. I always thought that it was. I always thought that was Virginia.
I have heard both stories, but I don't think I ever thought that it was the same person.
I've always thought it was the same person.
But I know that there's one, like there's just one lady in white.
Yeah.
You know, there's not two of them.
No, but I don't know why I've always thought it was the same person. I didn't know there was two women that jumped.
Was there actually two women that jumped?
I don't think there's any actual record at all.
I think the story that I most have thought about and have heard is the mistress story.
Yeah.
That she committed suicide, because that just makes more sense to me for her to be so prominent there, for it to be such a dark thing, rather than just like a playful accident. Not that she accidentally jump out of the 12th story window.
Well, she thought she could make it to the pool and she couldn't. That was the whole thing, is that they said that she thought she could jump far enough to the pool, which if you've ever looked at the actual pictures of where the pool is in relation, but if you've ever looked at the aerial view, you're certainly not making it.
Oh yeah, you're certainly not making it.
And I don't know exactly how the layout works, but there's like an underground system that ends up leading to tunnels. And I thought that was between the pool and the hotel. Like I thought you had to drive between the pool and the hotel, but I could be completely wrong about that. But there is an underground tunnel where they say there's still like old Studebakers and stuff, because people bought them and then took them down there and then went off to war and never came back. Ooh. I want to go down there. I
wonder if we'll ever know.
I want to know how to get down. It was on the ghost tour. She said there's like old Studebakers and stuff down there. I'm like, how do I get down there?
How do we get down there?
How do I get down there?
Oh my God.
Because that's where the parking garage was.
Yeah. I think I know exactly what you're talking about too.
I don't know. I'm confused on that, but I'll have to look at a layout again. So then there's another story which I had never heard of, and it was the cook and the maid. And it was that there was a hotel cook having an affair with one of the maids, and the maid was going to tell the cook's wife, and he stabbed her to death in the pantry in the kitchen. Which would put a lot of credit, because a lot of people say the kitchen is very dark and doesn't feel right. And I never knew that. But there's people who say that whenever they're in the kitchen, they'll hear like a woman in their ear. Only women, not to men.
Only women will hear her.
Hear her say, "Get out."
Ooh.
Like, save yourself.
He'll kill you.
Yeah.
Ew.
Dude, if I heard any... It doesn't matter what you're saying. If you're whispering in my ear, I am running.
If I hear a mouse fart, I'm out. Gotta go.
Barking spider, done.
I have never heard that story.
I hadn't either. I had not. I hadn't heard that, and I hadn't heard this one either. So this one says, considering there are many visitors to mineral wells, and they all came, looking for healing water and everything, there's a little boy who had leukemia and came and was staying at the hotel to get treatment, and he died there because, I'm sorry, but mineral water is not going to treat leukemia. But you don't know that, right?
Yeah. You have to try everything, right?
Honestly, there's a lot of people who they're like, let's do the all the trials and stuff. They're like, we don't know if it's going to work, but I'm at this point. Yeah. So he died of leukemia, and so a lot of people see this little boy running around and bouncing balls, and
I think I remember that from the episode. Maybe
I don't know.
Oh, I have to watch it immediately. I'm so excited.
Yeah. Because in the episode, when they're walking around, like during the day, getting a tour by one of the construction guys, one of the doors, like it's just Nick and the construction guy up there, because it's when Zach and Aaron found the dog. Remember they found a dog there?
Yes.
Like Aaron kept him, or Zach kept her?
Yeah.
Kept her. But it's just Nick and the guy who runs the construction stuff, and they're upstairs in one of the top floors, and the door behind the construction guy just pops and like kind of creaks. And Nick immediately is like, is there anyone on the other side of it? And they like check the other room, and there's nobody there. And so Zach was like, I don't care if it's not nighttime. We're going to investigate right now. And like starts like an EVP session.
Yeah, they start
and
early. Yeah, I remember that. They did a lot of stuff during the day in the beginning of the episode when they're like doing the history of the building and everything. Oh, that was such a fun day.
I actually think that dog, they did keep it. And I think that dog like just passed away.
Aww.
Like recently.
That was a long time. How long ago was that?
I don't know. It was when I was living at Matt's house. So that would be like 8th or 9th grade. So that's like 11 years, 12 years.
It had to have been 8th grade. Because it like took an act of God to get signed out from the freaking freshman center.
I'm not sure.
I think it was 8th grade. Because I think I was wearing a really horrible outfit. Was I wearing that polka dotted skirt? What was I wearing?
I thought you were wearing like one of the like affliction type shirts.
Oh, that's even worse.
I thought maybe Aaron was wearing an affliction shirt. Someone was wearing an affliction shirt in the picture.
I think he was wearing a solid colored shirt. Somebody was wearing purple.
Me. I think I was wearing a purple shirt.
Was I wearing that red and blue affliction shirt?
I don't know. I thought it was black with like silver. Oh, God. I'll find the picture when I get home.
Yeah. I don't know.
It's on one of our Instagrams too, I thought.
I wish we had a picture with Zach. That breaks my heart every day.
Yeah, we only got it with Aaron. And he's like,
Aaron was so nice.
I love him. Love him. So then there are some other deaths. There are some other deaths. In 1944, a federal civil investigator, probably who was assigned to Camp Walters, threw himself out of a window from room 919. Why did I say it like that?
919?
919? 911?
999?
Yeah, what the hell? 9? So from room 919, what the fuck? The FBI is said to have investigated, but no foul play was found. In 1952, a man rented a room, went upstairs and cut his throat.
Oh.
Which they do kind of talk about that guy in the Ghost Adventures episode, because Zach is like walking around the lobby and he's like, look at that cute family over there. And then they do like a snapshot of like an old family. And then he's like, look at this guy. He just entered here to commit suicide. And he's like carrying a briefcase. And I was like, damn, that's rough. I think he even says to like slit his throat or something. Like he does not say, I don't know. I don't think he says it nice. But yeah, I was like,
okay,
you're really walking us through it.
Yeah.
In the 1940s, one man murdered another man in the lobby, reputedly over a private parking space. The murderer was found guilty but released, enough of a reason for any victim to roam in anger, which is correct.
Yeah.
And then stories have also circulated about a spooky secret network of tunnels beneath the hotel, which I've already mentioned. And then there's the Brazos room, which there's a ghost story from when they were in the Brazos room, and it was a bunch of people were there during the World War II, veterans, something or another, and their spouses, and they heard music playing, and like a group, like you could hear people in the room.
Yeah, like the chatter of a party.
And go in there and there's nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's just some of the ghost stories I've written down, but I also just know a lot of ghost stories.
Yeah.
So I can put this away for now. There is another ghost story, and it's about that's the Middle Wells cop guy. And he said that he was on duty one night and they get a call because there's a disturbance at the Baker Hotel and that there's a girl dead on the front steps, basically.
Oh.
And so he goes and he investigates and he's talking to these group of ladies, and they're like, yeah, we were having like a girls' night out and we came in and we were doing like a little seance or, messing around, just joking around.
Yeah.
And one of the girls got up and was like, I'm going to go find Virginia, which is the name of the mistress. And she walks off and they're like, I guess she invited somebody else, I guess. Like, okay. And she went to the room of Virginia and jumped just the same. And so he found her body, and like that was his very first story of being a cop in Mineral Wells.
Oh my God.
Yeah. One of his creepier ones to me, which there's always been talk of this, but it's always been convoluted if it's between that old Dr. Norwood's hospital or if it was actually on the Army base. There's been a lot of, because the Army base had a lot of deaths. Old Norwood Hospital had a lot of death. Nazareth had a lot of death. Mineral Wells, like the Baker, had a lot of death. And then the Haunted Hill House had a lot of death. So there's just death heavy in this one area. And there was stories on, there's like a therapist in one place and then a doctor in one place. They would take people, like the doctor or the therapist, but like his prime victims were people who were just like passing through, people who wouldn't be missed in other places.
Yeah.
And those are the people that they would take, or they would take whole families and they would just separate them and be like, the parents are in therapy, and then they would take the kids to like the doctor, and like it was this whole weird.
And kill them?
He would perform experimental surgeries.
Oh.
On, like the doctor would. But he would do it to people who wouldn't be missed.
That shit freaks me out. Those creepy ass doctors, like, they used to just dissect people and just do crazy shit.
And the worst thing is they always worked at like asylums where you could get away with it. And that's kind of what they did here. They worked like between a therapist situation and that, and they would take people who wouldn't be missed. And so, yeah, I heard that too. But one of the guy's stories, the police officer, one of his main stories is, and he actually gets a call one night and they're like, hey, the third story of that house, which is where I was in that picture that I showed you. It's just so scary. Like, cause I had already read all these stories before I went in that building. So when me and Mom were going in that building, I was like,
yeah,
Genie. And there's no electricity. I just had my phone light on.
Yeah.
But the story is that the cop got called and was supposed to go get, there's people messing around. There's a light in the third story. So he goes up there and there's this homeless guy that's up there in the corner, and he's like, decrepit or whatever. And he's talking about a girl named Mariana, and Mariana was supposed to be the nurse's assistant, or the nurse's aide to Dr. Norwood.
Oh.
Yes. And so the guy is like, are you here to take me, Mariana? Like the homeless guy. And the cop is like, I don't know who Mariana is. This guy's fucking crazy, whatever. And he's walking him down the stairs. And then when you get to the bottom of the stairs, on the wall is written like she's here or something like that.
Mm-mm.
And yeah, so he takes the homeless guy out. And then he notices, he's like, you know what, whatever. And he like, walks out of the building and he looks back and there's still a light on.
Yeah.
Like a
there
candle
was never
light.
a light.
And he's like, I went up there and there was not a light up there. And he was like, that's so creepy. And so he goes and he talks to this elder lady. And I think she ends up being like Mariana's granddaughter, something like that. But she's talking and she's like, yeah, there's records of all the patients and stuff in the basement, which I found records up in that third story. So I don't, grain of salt. But he said he goes down into the basement and he's looking for records and he can't find anything. But then he kind of sees this weird spot in the wall and he kind of moves the stove over and there's like a hole. So he goes through it, like a brick wall hole.
Yeah.
And he finds all the filing cabinets. And so he's going through the filing cabinets and like looking for information and he turns around and he just sees all these kids and they're normal. They're all normal.
Oh.
But then they like flicker and like one of them's missing an arm. One of them has like a hand or a foot sewn onto his hand. One of them is like missing its eyes. The experimental surgeries. And then they would flicker and be normal kids again and like kind of be like, ha ha ha, like giggling and stuff.
No.
And I don't remember what happened that made it. I don't know if it was that, but he does leave. That was one of the stories that stuck with me the most. I was like, that is horrifying. And if that's the same doctor where T.B. Baker or Earl Baker died in that building, then that's a connection to the Baker. And I'm like,
there's a big connection there.
Yeah. He has a lot of really creepy stories. It's definitely worth reading. Yeah. And I do kind of want to recap it one day. And I have already emailed because he posted this story like 10 years ago. And I have emailed him because he has a whole Reddit thread trying to be respectful. Like, hey, can I share any of this? And I never hear back from him. So I'm like, I'll just preface what he says. I won't share word for word because I wanted to just read it.
Yeah.
But that was one of the stories that stuck with me the absolute most. And so Mariana worked with the doctor and ended up being like bad as well. But the homeless guy is like, Mariana, are you here for me? So like Mariana or like the homeless guy had seen this ghost or talked to this really creepy ghost.
Yeah.
And so then there's also the Haunted Hill House in Mineral Wells. And I'll just preface it a little bit. And it is quite literally like a stone's throw away from the Baker. Like here, you go back and it's there. And so the Haunted Hill House is supposed to be this just no nice spirit there. Dark, evil.
This is the one that's you have to go around the Baker and up and then like to the right and like around and then come back towards the Baker. But there's like a dead end.
It's somewhere back up in there.
Okay.
It's somewhere back up in there, yeah.
I drove by it one day. Like I went up to it.
Yeah, it is back up in there somewhere. It's got a red door.
Yeah, I think so.
It's back in that corner. And it was built at some point. It was a brothel and had a really heavy history of being like the brothel had a really dark history. Like the guy there was like brothers who lived in the house and they were like killing the girls. And I think one of the brothers died. It's a very dark story, but it was a brothel. There was a lot of deaths then, but none of it's really on record because it was a brothel, but it also was in prohibition times. Yeah. And they were like making alcohol, selling alcohol things out of there. And so one of the stories is that it was like little boys. They would send little boys, like 12-year-olds, on their bikes to go get it, and then they would take it to the alcohol to the Baker. Because cops aren't going to stop a 12-year-old boy and be like, so you got alcohol on you? Yeah. And so that's like one of the connections there as well. And I'm sure a lot of people went between the Baker and that, especially if there's a brothel at that time and you're at the Baker.
Oh, yeah. It's right there.
Yeah. And so there's a lot of dark history there. One of the people in the house at one point in time like used one of the rooms as like a seance ritual room, and she would just send her kids downstairs. And but then now it is used it's a tourist attraction. A lot of the ghost shows I watch have gone there and things like that. And one of the things is very notable is the people who own the house now, they have cameras in every single room because they want it to be like a real experience for you. They don't want it to be like made up ghost stories that happen here. They want it to be like this truly happened. So they have it recorded everywhere so people can't like screw around and make lies up basically. Yeah. And there's a girl who's been dragged out of one of the beds. It's on camera.
Oh, fuck no.
She literally gets yanked. She's like, I know you're here.
Yeet.
Yanked. Yeah. And one of the ghost shows I watch, it's Twin Paranormal. It's Twin Paranormal. Yeah. Yeah. And one of the brothers, he's just standing there and he's like, ah! And he screams and he rips his jacket off. And he's like, I asked for it. I know I asked for it. And then he's got like scratches on his back. But he's literally like struggling to get out of his jacket. Like in the video, you can see him just running to take it off. And they actually go back. They revisit and they're like, this is one of the places I've never wanted to go back to. And they go back and they individually they each go in individually, and which is worse.
Yeah.
But there's constant videos. If you get on their Facebook page and there's like a group of girls and they're in one of the rooms and you can kind of hear like noises and then they just take off screaming and running and out. They say 50% of the people who go there leave.
Yeah.
And it's like professional people go there and don't stay all night.
Don't stay overnight.
Mm-mm.
Oh, yeah. I've heard that place is like seriously haunted.
Yeah,
and dark. But I feel like it is a more condensed space than the Baker because it's a home, not a freaking 14-story hotel.
Yeah.
But like just so much.
It's got a lot of dark. Mineral Wells has a lot of darkness.
Mm-hmm.
Mineral Wells is better now, but at one point whenever it went through like the Depression, it was a very like, it still is slightly a very drug ridden town.
Yeah.
That's just dark.
Yeah.
It's really dark.
Yeah.
And it's just dark.
Yeah, they do their best to make it
It's
better.
cleaning up.
It's cleaned up a lot, but still like, people know that like around here people know that like, oh, like Mineral Wells, ooh.
Yeah.
But it's different than how it was.
It's definitely clean. Like it's definitely cleaner, and they're really doing a lot to revitalize the town and kind of clean that up. But that would add a whole level of just nasty, and just energy that's gross. But there's another story because it does have its own well in the back, and whenever I think of well, I think of like The Ring, and which inherently scares me.
Yep.
Seeing something crawl out of there. But there is a story that there's a little girl and she stays around the well, and you'll like see her peek out from behind the well.
Oh.
I would lose it.
Nope. Nope.
So those are really the haunted spots. You'd have to go watch the Haunted Hill House stuff. You just have to go to their Facebook page because there's
I need to.
so much. Or like the Twin Paranormal, or there's these it's like a group of 5 boys and they're called The Boys, and they go, but they kind of joke around a lot.
Yeah.
So their channel is like, it's not as serious for me, so it's harder for me to watch their stuff. But they go, Twin Paranormal is my favorite people who have gone in there and like.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to watch that. That's on YouTube, right?
It's free on YouTube.
Mineral Wells is such a hot spot. I just love it so much because it's been a part of our lives forever.
Yeah, we've always known about it. We've always gone there. I go there more now than ever, and I really want to go live there. But I'm like, it is also
it's scary. Just no, I mean, it's not
it's
scary.
It's heavy. It's a
just
heavy place.
knowing that there's like all of this that's around you, that you can expose yourself to on purpose or on accident,
Yeah.
And just like
I'll never drink the water. I'll
it.
never drink the water after that.
I've never had it ever.
I have tried it because they sell it like
everywhere.
Here. You can get it shipped to you. So I have tried it, but it would not be a regular occurrence for me to drink it.
No, I would like to stay aware.
Yeah, I would like to see the ghost. I would like to know that, well, maybe not. If I'm going to live there.
Yeah, true.
Maybe I want to feel
You would have to just be oblivious to it. It's good stuff, man. Such good stuff.
And the side of town that I'm looking, because the nice side of town, it's called Snob Hill, which is where I would want to live, is where all the haunted places are. They are all more in that area than like the southeast side of town. Up in that hill where Nana and Granddad used to live up in that hill. That's where all the houses are that I'm looking. And I'm like, ooh, girl. Ooh, girl. Yeah, but it is. It's just nice houses with a lot of, like, they're just great. But yep. So that's Mineral Wells.
That's just the surface of Mineral Wells and the big heart of the city.
Yeah, I've been holding off on the episode because I wanted to make it like multiple parts, but I can still do multiple parts and just talk about the other stuff later. Because I want to talk about the Crazy Water more. I want to talk about the Nazareth. I want to talk about the cop story more. I want to talk about Dr. Norwood. Yes, so that's Mineral Wells. I think I kind of jumbled it up because I keep getting... Oh, it's okay. I do it all the time. I eat my microphone at least twice a recording.
I'm like, oh, it's right here.
I did it. I bounced off mine multiple times today. But that's Mineral Wells. I kind of got ahead of myself in some places because I love it and I know so much that I got jumbled. But
it's part of our culture at this point.
Yeah, and like I said, I did my senior project, so I learned so much.
It's engraved in our blood.
It really is. And I love it. I highly recommend if you live anywhere near it to go visit and stay at the Crazy Water until the Baker's open, but also look up when their festivals are because they do like Crazy Wells, Merry Wells, which is when they do their Christmas stuff. So they normally do something in like October, December, summer. They do like car shows at them. They block off the whole downtown area. You can walk by all the haunted locations.
I want to go on a ghost walk this year.
Totally. Let's do it. When I went, though, there was like 200 people and we just walked at the very back. Oh, that's another story. There's a bank right by the Baker Hotel. it's old. I don't think it's functioning anymore, but it is right there. And there was a group of girls who worked there, and one of the girls sat at her window and would look up at the baker all the time. And she noticed that like windows would be opened one morning and closed by the afternoon. She's like, who has time to go in there and do that?
Yeah.
So she started watching the windows, and it happened all the time. And then it ended up becoming like an office thing to where other people in the office were watching. Like she announced it to other people. And so they all started like gathering and checking every day. And they would be opening and close, like open in the morning and closed at night. And there's so many pictures of the Baker Hotel with things in the windows.
Yeah.
If you look on that, it's called the Baker Hotel Ghost Walk, and it's like by Boutique or something like that. You can find their Facebook page, and she posts every single time she does a tour, somebody has something happen. And she posts pictures or like audio recordings that they get, but there is always stuff in the windows at the Baker.
Yeah.
So definitely recommend anytime you are near Mineral Wells around the Halloween time, definitely recommend looking into the Ghost Walk. She has a ton of information, and it's really cool. And it's only like $20. It's really cheap. And you all just meet, you get there, you meet, and she waits for a bunch of people to get there, and then
she just goes.
Does a tour, buy one of the shirts that I make.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't get paid. I get paid to make the design, and then she sells them, but they're cool.
So much to say about Mineral Wells.
Yeah. We'll cover some more of it, but I felt like now was the time to do it.
Let's scrape the surface a little bit.
Yeah, we recorded Goatman, and I have Goatman stuff for not for the Baker Hotel, for Mineral Wells as well, and I won't spoil that because I am going to redo my... We recorded my Goatman episode last weekend, and I did not function. So.
Well, and it was also really weird. We don't really like to put out an episode if the vibe is off, like just period, like based on like what we feel like we put out. But I was having a reaction to something. Don't know what it was. And
it wasn't like Goatman itself. Like that's not what was like, the stories were creepy, but that wasn't what was like getting her. She said she was feeling like something was just...
I was so uncomfortable.
On the other side on her right side is a doorway, which is why we have the camera set up how we have it set up so you can't see the doorway. And she was...
I just felt like there was something just like right here.
Yeah.
Behind me the entire time. I was so uncomfortable. Did you go back and watch it?
No, I need to.
I was so uncomfortable.
I knew you were uncomfortable the whole time, and I didn't know if it was the stories or not. At the end, you were like, it's not the stories. Something... And I said, yeah, I will never sit where you are.
Yeah, so it was super weird. So I'm glad we're going to redo it because I was just like, I was focused and I was listening and the story was really good and the information was really good. But I was just like, I need to fucking move. I need to get out of here right now. Yeah. Like, I was like, I have to go.
Yeah. Yeah. And we did. We shut that down pretty quick. The worst part is I had to drive home after that. And and the Goatman stuff is like all about trees and cars and driving and this like, creepy shit. And I was like, and it was dark.
It's all that it is out here.
Yeah. And it was, once I got to the city roads, I messaged you and I said, I made it to the city roads. I feel a lot better because my drive home is not it's tree lined, but further away from the road tree lined. Here, you're like, trees are at the road.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I feel a lot better once I get to the city because then...
a lot less claustrophobic.
Yeah, the last 30 minutes of my drive is a little bit more open.
Love that.
But yeah, so that was Mineral Wells. We will go over more. I am sorry if it felt jumbled to you. It's just a topic that I could rant and rant and rant.
Those are the best kinds.
Yeah.
Those are the best ones.
It is what it is. I love it. I love Mineral Wells. I'm like, I'm going to move there and I'm going to be haunted.
I can't wait.
I know. There's going
to be so many stories.
We're going to have to record from my house sometimes. That's where I want to play the 11 Mile Road and I want to play for Mineral Wells.
Yes.
Like I want to start somewhere in Mineral Wells. We might end up in Graham or PK, but that's fine.
That's fine. We know our way around there. Not really, but kind of.
My wedding was supposed to be right outside of Mineral Wells on a road called Devil's Hollow Road.
It's perfect for you.
Yeah. And I was wearing a black and white dress and it was a Halloween wedding. But it got rained out. I had to get a real venue.
Not everything works out the way we plan it.
It was probably a sign. Aaron's mom was like, you're getting married on Devil's Hollow Road?
Yeah, girl, what about it? Mind your business.
Yeah. Well, and then everyone was like, your dress is like black and white? And I was like, yes.
Newsflash, don't give a shit what you think.
I had the most untraditional wedding.
That was great. I loved it. I had a blast.
Everyone enjoyed it. Everyone was like, that was a great wedding.
Yeah, it was so chill.
And I wasn't stressed. I mean, my hair was falling out. But that was more because the rain all that week. And I was like, shit. But they say rain is a good luck thing on your wedding day. And it rained on my wedding day.
Yeah,
so
it's good luck.
It was fun. We vibed. We vibed. But
yes,
yeah.
We did.
So that's Mineral Wells. If you have stories from Mineral Wells,
yes, please
send them.
I know there's some local peoples on here that probably do have some stuff about mineral wells. Send
Please,
it to us.
I want to hear more Baker Hotel stories because a lot of people are very scared to share them because it was a trespassing thing at one point in time. But
we won't use your name if you don't want us to.
No, but they ain't gonna get you now.
No, it's good. It's all good.
Yeah.
I was gonna say something else about that. I don't remember.
I don't know how I'm still having acid reflux. I took omeprazole and I've been eating Tums and I am on fire right now. That's why my voice went away earlier.
Yeah, it was like,
yeah, my voice literally cut out and it was because I have acid in my throat.
Yummy.
I know. What's wrong with me?
I don't know, man. Anyway.
It's probably because all I've eaten today is queso and bean dip.
That's exactly why.
And all I ate yesterday was macaroni and a hot dog. 2 hot dogs.
Girl.
This is also why I've gained 20 pounds.
You know what? That doesn't matter.
Actually, I went to the doctor and they said I only gained 13 in the last year.
Oh, good.
And I was like, feels like 20.
Well, 13's 13. It's not 20.
It is not.
Nope.
I'll take it.
It's not.
Nope.
Well, anyways, I think that's it.
Yeah. If you have any stories you want to share, send them to sistersofthestrange@gmail.com. Like, follow, subscribe. Please go to our Instagram. We were getting tremendous growth on Instagram, and then now it's shit fired again. So go to Instagram. Our TikTok is still running and gunning. We're getting a lot more streams. I don't know what happened in the last week where we're getting more, which was cool.
We're happy to have it.
Yeah.
And we will see you guys next week.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.